finish up this lesson. Part 2. Okay. What if you have these kind of questions? Find the equation of a parabola whose vertex is at -10, 0. Well, let's graph it. -10, 0 is right here. And the directrix, let's graph the directrix. The directrix is at y equals -4. Okay, y equals, is it vertical or is it horizontal? If y equals -4, y like the horizon, it's going to be at -4 right here this way. It's not -4, it's -1/4. Nevertheless, what way is our parabola going to be facing? It's going to be a vertical parabola facing up. We know that because it has to, the directrix points it in the right direction. Okay, so let's fill in what we know here. We know that this is -10, 0. We know the directrix is y equals -1/4, right? We know that since it's a vertical parabola, it's going to be of this form, y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. Well, the good thing is that we can fill this in. If we put, here's our h value right here. So let's get rid of the -h. Is it going to be -10 or +10? It's going to be +10. Because you remember you had x minus h. If you put -10 in for h, it's minus 10, which becomes plus. Okay. What do we do with the 0? That's our k. Okay, so we've got most of the equation already. Let's just keep going down the list here. Axis of symmetry. Oh, whoops, that was not what I wanted to do. Let's go back to here. Axis of symmetry is going to be a vertical line right through the vertex. And the equation for that will be, is it going to be x equals or y equals? X. All the points on this line have the same x value. X equals -10. Focal length. Well, we know the directrix is at y equals -1/4. So that means that since we started at 0 and we went down 1/4, which is just the right direction for a directrix, the focal length must be 1/4. Okay. And we know that the focal length is 1/4a. So can you see that a has to equal 1? So we can just get rid of this. And we could put a 1 here, but we don't really have to. It can be just, we'll leave it as an invisible 1. Same with this. We don't have to put a 0 in here. We could just leave it as an invisible 0. So y equals x squared plus y equals x plus 10 squared. Where's the focus at? The focus is at -10. It has to be on that axis of symmetry. And it's going to be up 1 focal length, so it's at 1/4. Length of the lattice rectum? Well, let's see. That's going to be absolute value of 1/a. A equals 1, so this equals 1. That means we go out a half on this side. And there is half of our parabola. The other half goes off the graph. Let's try this one. Find the equation of the parabola whose vertex is at -1, 5. Graphed it. Vertex is -1, 5. The directrix is at x equals -7/8. Let's find out where that is. Okay, directrix. X equals, is that going to be a vertical line or a horizontal line? That's a vertical line. -7/8. That's going to be just to the right of our vertex. It's 1/8 to the right. It's really hard to draw it, isn't it? We put it just to the right. It's 1/8. Well, let's see. This means that this is directrix is x equals -7/8. The focus, well, let's see. Focal length is going to be 1/8. We can see from the graph. Is it going to be positive or negative? Well, our parabola is opening towards the negatives, so the focal length is negative. It still equals 1/4a. So can you see that a has to equal -2? A equals -2. So let's go up here. Since we have a parabola that's going to be opening horizontally, the equation is of this form. X equals a times y minus k squared plus h. And let's fill it in. The vertex, this is h. So h becomes -1. K is 5. So this becomes 5y minus 5 squared. Our a is 2. Okay, axis of symmetry. Axis of symmetry is going to go right down the middle. That's going to be, is it going to be x equals or y equals? Y like the sky, y like the horizon. It's y equals 5. The focus is going to be one focal length this way. We know the y coordinate has to be 5. We started at -1. We're going one focal length this way, so it better be -9/8. Length of the lattice rectum. We put in, oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't put a negative here. -2. The length of the lattice rectum, if you put 2 in here, is going to be 1/2. Positive because it's absolute value. So this is very hard to graph. All we know is it's going to be a pretty steep parabola. And hopefully that will do everything you need.